Okay, welcome everyone. We're back to our morning shiur, only for men. We're doing the book Happily Married by Rav Zamir Cohen. We left off yesterday that man and a woman is completely different. Yeah, their brain structure is different. The way they think is different. The way they accept emotion, pain, suffering, all that is different. And therefore, if you listen to yesterday's shiur, he gave us a little bit of scientific background of how they proved that they're different. Yeah? So we left over here. It says the practical application of their different psychological makeup are many and significant, directly affecting the nature of the emotional relationship between the spouses and consequently their marital harmony. Meaning, being able to connect emotionally to a wife because of her mental makeup is a very important thing in marriage. Unfortunately, or fortunately, or maybe it's unfortunately, there's a big difference between how a man and how a woman looks at relations. Yeah? For a man, it's a certain need. And therefore, like I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, I drink, that's it. Doesn't really matter. When I'm thirsty, doesn't matter what I drink. I could drink water, I could drink seltzer, I could drink coffee, I could drink tea. If I'm thirsty, whatever it is, it's going to satiate me. Yeah?
What do you mean? The man is, you're talking about the wife?
Intimacy.
Intimacy is like drinking water or any other?
No. I'm going to explain to you. I just started to explain.
Yeah, I just want to understand.
When a man needs to relieve himself, yeah? When I'm talking about,
I understand what you're saying.
yeah. For him, it's a matter of fact. It's a physical need.
When is that? When is get married only?
No, anytime. Anytime. But we're talking about marriage. We're talking about marriage.
No, but
Let's talk about marriage.
my question is, when a person get married, why are we getting married? To bring kids, to bring...
Mulo, go ahead.
It's not all
Let's understand. I'm not talking about what we need, what we don't need. I'm not talking about what's proper, what's not proper. I'm talking about fact of life. When a man has a certain need, sexual need, he needs to relieve himself. Yeah? That's why by men, it's a very bad thing to do what's called zera lavatala, masturbation. Very bad thing, right? Why does he do it? Because he has a certain need. That need needs to be fulfilled, so he fulfills it. You understand? With a woman, it's a little bit different. Woman, she also has that need, but with her need, there's an emotional attachment to it. Yeah, she has to be emotionally attached to her husband in order for her to be able to enjoy or even be able to engage in this action. So what happens a lot in marriage is because we don't fulfill the emotional connection, there's a little bit of coldness of the spouse, of the wife, not the spouse, the wife. She feels cold, and therefore you try to come to her, and she's like, oh, my stomach hurts, I'm not in the mood, I'm a little bit tired. She falls asleep faster than you. She doesn't go upstairs until you fall asleep. All these things are a sign of a big emotional disconnect between you and your wife.
She feels like an object.
Absolutely. For a man, it's an object, okay, whatever it is, because we are not emotional beings. So therefore, we don't need an emotional connection. She has to look good a little bit, you know what I mean? She has to smell good a little bit, yeah? Meaning, shower and everything. But as far as an emotional thing, there's no emotional attachment for us. That's why by us, right, when a man has what he has, he turns around and wants to go to sleep. When a woman has relations with her husband, she wants to be hugged, she wants to be caressed afterwards. Johnny man, how are you? Meaning, she wants it to continue to be a sort of like a downplay of the emotional connection. But with us, it's 1, 2, 3. It's a boom, he's sleeping the next minute. You understand? So he says that because of the fact that they're emotional beings, women are emotional individuals, and that's the makeup that Hashem made them. We cannot change that. You cannot open a woman up and start, rewiring her and saying, okay, let me, or you cannot change her by talking to her and developing her into a person you want her to be. It's impossible. It's impossible. And I know men that try to do that. They think they're going to break their wives and make them to be the way they want them to be. That what? When it comes time at 9:30, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, whatever it is, you come, you this, and that's it. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. So therefore, in order for us to be able to connect with our wives in the evening, there must be an emotional connection. Emotional connection is not 5 minutes before the act. They see that. They know it's almost time. Hi, Motek, this and that. They're idiot. What is he doing? You know, come on. What are you doing?
Prepare cup of coffee.
Yes.
Prepare cup of coffee.
Yes.
How many 10 minutes is next?
Yesterday we had a class, and one of the guys said, you have to marinate her. You have to marinate her. What's marinate? Marinate 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 1 day in advance. Yeah? Especially when it's the mikveh night. It's very important that you have to be marinating her throughout these days. And especially that day. You know, very important. This is a concept that many men are not fulfilling. And their ladies are very, if they're going into it, they're going into it cold. And unfortunately, it's a very terrible situation. Okay? So we spoke about that yesterday, how they are different. They're emotional beings, and therefore we have to play on their emotions. He says, in mapping the human brain, it was shown that the right hemisphere is responsible for the orientation and systematic thought, was more developed in the male, while the left hemisphere, responsible for verbal skills, communications, and emotional involvement in the environment, is more developed than the female. You see, so our right hemisphere is more developed, their left hemisphere is more developed, right? By the left hemisphere, it's what? Speech, communication, emotional involvement. By us, it's more of a, it's a systematic orientation thought. It's I got to do this is going to come out, that's how it is, yeah, so on and so forth. The number of nerve cells woman possesses in their language and auditory cerebral centers is 11% greater than in men. Interesting. The Torah says that women, what? They have this thing of talk, of speech. The Torah said it.
9 measures.
9 measures of speech were given to women, yeah? We're talking 2,500 years ago, they knew this. Here, they recently came up with this, yeah? And he gives us a note of where he got this from. 11% greater. Indeed, many boys turn out to be less verbally fluent and even taciturn, while most girls develop in maturity greater verbal and social skills. Yeah? Girls are more chit and chatter. They like to talk.
Because chat between each other.
Yeah. Even at a tender age, girls tend to speak earlier than boys, and when they mature, have no difficulty communicating. Men are more likely to stutter. Women utilize far more words in expressing themselves than men, who are more succinct and to the point. Not in vain did the Talmud say, 10 measures of speech descended to the world. Women took 9 of them. The spiritual reason behind this is that women are necessarily in the company of their children, and it's their prime, and they are the prime educators. Therefore, they have to be able to verbalize themselves and be very particular, A, B, C, D, how to do this, how to do this, how to do that. They have to be very particular. Men, yeah, education requires extensive speech. Words turn into sentences which explain, encourage, and appease and guide the child to follow the proper path. Sometimes if you've seen these mothers that are very you're like, oh my gosh, you can get a little bit, when they speak to the child very slowly, and you have to do it like this and like that. It says that's what a woman was built for. Kabbalah divides the human body into 3 horizontal lines. The line of kindness is on the right side, originating in the right hemisphere, counting down the right arm, ending by the right foot. The line of strength is on the left side, originating in the left hemisphere, continues down the left hand and culminates in the left leg. The line of splendor, tiferet, is centered, in the brain stem, descends down the chest to the pelvis. The male's spiritual root is to the right, while the woman's spiritual root is to the left. In our world, this finds expression in the findings regarding the function of the brain. The right hemisphere is more active and developed in the male, while the left hemisphere is more active and developed in the female. it should be remembered that the brain itself is no more than a collective of proteins, and it is only the inner spiritual essence reposed within that is responsible for the functioning of the material surrounding membrane and the operational differences between the right and left hemisphere. And accordingly, those psychological differences between male and female. He says, this brain, all it is, it's just a matter of protein. It's protein matter, yeah? What affects the brain? The spirit behind it, the neshama. He says, therefore, the woman's neshama is a little bit different than a male neshama. You hear? And therefore, that's why what runs the brain is the neshama of this being. While girls or women have a superior aptitude for speech and communication, men and boys are more scientifically and mathematically inclined, as stated by the professor, so on and so forth. Yeah? In a speech delivered in January 2005 before the National Council of Economic Research, it appears that regarding many and diverse human aptitudes, mathematical and scientific skills, men and women differ more than can be expected by a normal statistical variance. They scientifically are saying that women and men are different. His words evoke much agitation among his peers and in general public, but were validated by many studies afterwards. He says that men and women think differently. And people didn't like that before in 2005. But he says studies came afterwards to prove what? He was absolutely right. One study was carried out in 2005 University of California by Irvin psychologist Richard Hare. Yeah, he says the findings showed that men and women have the same IQ, even though they utilize different parts of their brain. Nonetheless, it was proven that the male gray brain cells representing the information processing center of the brain were 6.5 times greater than that of the woman, while women possessed 10 times more white brain cells, which interconnect those information processing center. So obviously, they're seeing that we're built differently. Here, the result of the study proved and explained why men excel in those areas that require focused data processing, like mathematics, while women tend to excel in processing pieces of information related to speech and conversation. So obviously, we are completely different individuals. Biologically, yeah. Studies involving the human sense of sight showed that amazingly, there are variants in the power of sight between men and women. Clearly, the feminine supremacy helps the woman observe the laws of family purity, right? Meaning, she says, even the way we see things are completely different. The male eye discerns 7 different colors, while many women can differentiate 10 different colors. Wow, look at that. Look how they went down. He says, why they need that? Because when they see the blood on the mapa, it's completely different the way we see it. He says, color blindness is more prevalent among men. A comprehensive study showed that the number of colorblind men is double that of women. Wow. He says it was proven that color blindness mainly affects the ability to discern red mixed with other colors. You hear? That's the color blindness. It's mostly in red. The most common form of color blindness is defined as the inability to differentiate between red and green or identify them properly. You hear? What is he trying to say? He says a woman is built to be able to differentiate the different colors of red. Why? Because she's the one who has to do the nidah checking. The laws of family purity require a fine analysis of colors. These laws apply mainly to women, and she was given the power to distinguish the difference between colors. He says over here, the ability is also prevalent among non-Jews who are not commanded to keep the laws of family purity, but are permitted to do so. Possibly the Creator also gave them this ability since these laws protect against certain diseases like cancer of the womb, besides amazingly upgrading emotional marital relations. Here, he says even the Goyish women are able to differentiate. He says they're not obligated on laws of nidah. He says, but it's recommended that they do so. Why? Because it prevents a lot of cancers and a lot of diseases. Any non-Jew who is offered the option of converting and assuming the yoke of commandments through which he can channel the spiritual bounty inherent in each of the commandments of the Torah, yeah? He says any non-Jew is offered, they can do that if they want, and that's why they have the ability. Good. He says over here, the average male gravitates towards power, supremacy, dominance, achievement, and motion in the big outside world by applying technical means. This is why he will find interest in sports, competition, and the like, computers, cars, work tools, and firearms, because that's how he was built. He was built to be a protector, to be a conqueror. And therefore, what's a protector and conqueror need? He needs these type of tools. On the other hand, the average woman is attracted to areas connected with character development, interpersonal relations, emotions, parenting, and external appearance. Yeah, she wants to look beautiful. She will accordingly, prefer receiving information and providing counsel on personal problems. She will consider attire, dress, accessories, and aesthetics as very important. That's why when you have daughters, what do you need all these clips and the purse and the belt that matches this and that? They have so many other things. You're like, why would you need all this? This nail polish and little blush. We don't understand that, but you know what? For them, it's a basic need. They need to be dressed in a nice way.
By the way, he gives topics for husbands to talk about.
Oh yeah?
All these topics.
Oh yeah? You saw it?
No, you mentioned.
Oh, correct.
These are the topics which relate to the
Absolutely. He says in the 90s, an interesting experiment was done in York University of Toronto. Men and women invited to take part in an academic study were asked to wait in a reception room without being told that this was also part of the experiment. There was no reading material or media apparatus that could divert their attention from the bare surroundings. After 2 minutes, they were taken out and asked which objects or details located in the reception room they could enumerate, and there were objects or and where the objects were located. Basically, they brought a bunch of people, men and women, into a room. They can't read anything. There was no reading material. They wanted to see how are they going to observe the whole room. The results surprised the organizer. It turned out that women remembered 70% more details and their locations than men. The feminine mind is far more attuned to its surroundings, and therefore women show far greater interest in details, in objects, and their placement than men. Why is it important for us to know this? Why is he going lengthy to understand them? He wants to come from a scientific way, right? From a real physical way of how women are different. And therefore, when we view certain things and they view certain things, we cannot get upset at the fact that it's so detailed about all that. They were like, okay, come on already. Leave that alone. Why do we need to be so detailed about it? You understand? So he wants to tell you, but that's their nature.
That's what the thing is to see. The particular for everything. Material-wise.
Absolutely.
And emotional-wise.
Absolutely.
Because they will remember all styles.
Absolutely. So imagine if they're so particular that they were able to do 70% of the items in the office they were able to remember. Can you imagine what a man talks about and how he reacts and the facial expressions that he has? I might not see your facial expressions and how, I see the overall, right? But she will probably notice every single line and say, no, when he does like this, he gets angry. When he's like that, so by them, it's
called over-analysis.
Oh, very good. It's an over-analysis. And you came a little bit late, but he says women are so analytical when it comes to like all these little details. For men, it's not whatever. You understand? We don't even see these things.
Where's your stuff that's located? It's in the room.
Absolutely.
She knows exactly.
Yes.
She thinks that you also know where it is.
Yes. The woman was created with these particular areas of interest as opposed to men because her sphere of action is an interior minister, right? He calls, by the way, he's going to constantly say interior minister, exterior minister, right? He's talking about interior minister is the woman, exterior is the man, right? Of the family nest. She is the custodian of the interior decoration, the maintenance of the home, the children as such, naturally focuses attention on these related details more than average of workplace. Every such detail can have significant repercussions on her family, both qualitatively and from an educational aspect. With men, if something is working but not really, we're okay. With women, fix that. You're like, what the? Listen, it's working. So what if it's a little bit like this? Big deal. No, but by them, right? It's a detail, and I need it done. But it's working. Why do we have to fix it? Why do I have to spend right now thousands of dollars to fix it? So once we understand that with her, it's a detail that bothers her. You understand? It doesn't bother you because you don't care about that. You don't care that the table goes click, 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 click sometimes. It's a table. It's strong, right? We're eating on it. No, but the click, 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 it bothers them, and therefore they're like, can you please get a new table? Like, yes, 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 yes. Can you please get a new table? Yes, 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 yes. So their detail, sometimes we don't even hear this thing. It's making too much noise. It is. I didn't even know. And then when they tell you this, oh, you're right. It is making so much noise. Yeah. So he says, male mind tends to develop side interests such as a car or bicycle maintenance, boating, electronics, and to do-it-yourself projects. A woman would prefer her morning coffee, quiet supper over which she can discuss personal, and family matters. She also enjoys caring for pets and volunteer work, especially helping others explore solutions to their problems. When a man sits down with a lady, he starts talking about things that bichlal she's not even interested in. And you know what she says? His conversations are boring. I can't take it anymore. I'm sitting there. It's like he's talking about how to this and that. We as men have to be in tune. That listen, my wife needs a completely different conversation. She's not interested about an engine in a Mustang 459 or whatever. She doesn't care that there's a new Tesla that came out with a triple engine instead of a dual engine, and it can do 450 miles in a three. For her, I don't care about that. What are you telling me? She'll be like, oh yeah. But inside she's thinking, who does he think I am? Another guy? You understand? And so men also say, well, what am I supposed to talk to her about? Well, guess what? Baruch Hashem, we have this AI now business. You should AI or Google what to talk about a woman. And before you go out on a date, if you don't know how, try to Google that and find out what is a good thing to talk about with your wife. You understand? This way she could be a little bit more energized, a little bit more, enthusiastic, interesting. And therefore the date or whatever is not going to be dry. He says, Dr. Brezidin writes, under the microscope lens or in an MRI scan, the difference between the male and female brain show up as a complex and expansive. This means that women tend to express emotions and remember details of emotional events better. She adds, scientists have succeeded in documenting an amazing spectrum of difference: structural, chemical, genetic, hormonal, and functional. It appears that there are differences from one another in the brain's sensitivity to stress or conflict. They use the different areas and channels in the brain to solve problems, for language processing, experiencing strong emotions, and preserving them in their memory. Preserving their memory. Women tend to remember the small details of their first date or their first difficult quarrel, while the husband hardly remembers such a past incident at all. Do you know where you took me on the first date? I told me that was 20 years ago. I'm not sure. They know exactly what the first date was, what you were wearing, what you bought, what you ate, how much of it you ate, how you felt that day. They remember all the arguments, how bad it was, what you said to them, where you said it. Yeah? For us, we don't have that space in our brain. Why? It's, because of the fact that we're so broad. If we don't need something, guess what? It's out. I don't need it. It's in there, right? Remember we talked about in Gemara files? We closed that file a long time ago because I cannot have that file open. I will not be able to function as a normal man. But by them, all these files are open in the brain. Oh, and that's why a lot of times we say, why is she all over the place? Yeah? She, when it comes to an argument, she will go all over the place. Yeah? You did this to me over here and you called me like this, and then your brother said like this to me and you didn't protect me, and then this like that and like that, like that. Where are you coming from? Where are you know why? Because remember, when we spoke Gemara, we said In the Gemara, we have a file. Hold that file because the Gemara is going to go into another thing. It's a different file, right? And then we have to put these two together. By women, all these files are open. They do not close. There's no closing them. You understand? And why? Because that's how they are. He says metaphysically, that's how they're thinking.
But unless the husband will work with her.
Yes.
And close
Yes, absolutely. Part of the working is to say, Johnny Kima, I'm very sorry about this. Yeah, they want a closure. They, for some reason, just like they want to hear "I love you." We spoke about it yesterday. Yeah, you showing her you love her. They want to hear "I'm sorry." Yesterday in the class, the guy said, "Yeah, but that's that's making yourself a little bit like weak." He said, "Saying I'm sorry is a weakness." And I said to him, "You know what? You're absolutely wrong. Saying I'm sorry is a strength. Why? Because you know which person cannot say I'm sorry? The weak one. Because he's afraid if I'm going to say I'm sorry, I'm losing something. No. By saying I'm sorry, you actually have gained what? You gained that you're a real man. Why? You're not afraid to say I'm sorry. And we brought the example here.
What happens when they're tired of you saying sorry?
Oh,
They're like,
so
I heard this 1,000 times.
yes,
I heard this a million
yes. So that's a very, very good thing you said. We have to be able to understand what is it that's making us say I'm sorry. And we must stop this thing. If it's, like for instance, example, right? It's a bad example, but if I'm smacking and I'm saying I'm sorry, stop smacking. Then you're not going to say I'm sorry. You understand? If you're constantly late, yeah, and you're saying I'm sorry, then try to make your schedule in a way that you cannot be late. You hear? Meaning you have to see if it's a million things that are going wrong and a million things you're saying I'm sorry for, then okay, that, yeah, exactly. We have to be able to constantly analyze ourselves to see what is it that I'm being sorry for. What is it that she's constantly, nagging about?
Like I'm saying, in the moment, what are you supposed to say?
Yeah, I don't know. We have to analyze it a little, but too many sorries, it's also watered down. It's already not. It's like saying, "How are you?"
Yeah.
You understand? And we said before, "How are you?"
Sorry is just like stop bugging out. Just I'm sorry.
Exactly. It's something.
But if you mean it, they'll know. Sometimes it could be that she wants more of this, and that's why she's saying, "Hey."
He's very quick at saying I'm sorry, because he doesn't want an argument. So something, sweetie, I'm sorry, my fault. She already heard that 50 times. Why? Because she knows that it's coming out. By the way, we're gonna tie it right back in to the comments, because at the end of the day, it's all about that. Why is she so distraught about everything you do? It's because she is broken down. Why is she broken down? It's because we break her down with our words. You understand? Because we break her down with our words, she's a broken person. Now everything I do, she has a problem with. If I make her a non-broken person, now she's not bothered by what I did. I mean, of course, we can't do it every time. You understand? If I'm not a broken person, I don't care you came late. If I'm not a broken person, I don't care you did this, and if I'm not a broken, I don't care that action was not good. I'm working with you. But if I'm broken, every single thing bothers me. The little crumb bothers me. It's interesting. I bring a lot of my examples because nobody's as open as they don't want to be open with their insecurities or in their whatever. But when I had issues with my wife, every step you hear this chair? You hear that? Yeah? It would bother her. Why? Because it was a broken person. So everything, little thing is like, yeah.
You were connected. Who was?
No, she was bothered by it. The wife. My belt, I had to buy a belt that was not a sound-making belt. Why? Because in the morning when I would put on my belt, it would bother her. You hear? Now, nothing bothers her. It's like a rock sleeping. Why? Because she's not a broken person. And if there is the noise, it's okay. It's my husband. But when there was the little, it's not my husband. That's a man who's killing me, and I want to tell him, yo, what's wrong with you? Why are you making that noise? Why'd you come late? Why are you spitting? Why are you this? Why are you that? Because I'm a broken person. Now, we can't fix a broken person in one day. So many of the guys say, well, Louis, I've been doing it 2-3 weeks and she's still doing this. Yeah, It's going to take time. And the consistency is the most important thing over here. The consistency is the most important thing over here. Because it's like this. You're on an escalator. Escalator, you're doing good, you're doing good. You fell, boom, you start from the beginning. Why would you go there? It's starting from the beginning, guys. So again, you're going, boom, you broke. I couldn't, I broke. Well, you just messed yourself up.
Bankruptcy.
You bankrupted yourself.
I think that puts too much stress.
On who?
Being perfect.
No. It's not being perfect.
People make mistakes.
Listen, you could make a mistake. You can make a mistake.
Not in this stage.
We are taught, yes. Number one, not at this stage.
No, that's already a
You need 2, 3, 4 months of working on yourself. By the way, yesterday a guy told me that I've been starting to catch myself on the negative comments. For instance, she brought ice to the table. You know what he was going to tell her? What'd you bring ice for? I don't need it. And then he said, why would I say that? Let her bring the ice. Let me just shut my mouth. So I'm not going to eat it. I'm not going to take it. So a simple thing is, sweetie, we don't need ice. That's a negative comment. Mm-hmm. She went out of her way to go and fill up the ice thing, bring it to you.
Do next time other things.
Not only, she's not going to do it next time, that's one thing. But to her mind, I did something nice to him. He's telling me why I needed to. You hear what I'm saying? So now you are just basically helping her not to do the extra work. Don't open your mouth. You put extra this, extra that, extra. You just go along with it.
And these are the opportunities to say thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh wow, thank you. Yeah. And you know what? Even if you don't want it, put a couple in there. Say maladzets. Yeah. You see it? Says women tend to remember the smallest detail. The source of these differences is in the structure of the brain and its chemical makeup. You hear what he's saying? He's not saying that, yesterday I was trying to talk to a couple of people, but I was telling them like this. If this woman is built this way, right? And you know, or you have to know how to properly push her buttons, why would you get upset at her? You shouldn't be upset. Why? It's not her. It's this woman, it's that woman, it's this woman, it's that one, it's this one. It's all the same women. So therefore, if it's not this one, then it's going to be that one. So I said, now that you know, that's the makeup of this individual, okay, now I can start working with this individual. Because that's the makeup of this individual. You understand? So he's saying, you know why they remember everything? Because that's their makeup, that's their brain. I said yesterday is hippopotamus. It's not hippopotamus, it's hippocampus, right? The hippocampus. Their hippocampus is bigger than ours, and therefore that's why they think this way. He says it's their chemical makeup. In his list of guidelines for the respective spouses, Nachmanides, right? Also known as the Ramban, primarily addresses the husband. He should speak calmly to her. She must also speak serenely with him as well, but he did not make a point of it with the woman since he addressed each one separately in their respective areas of sensitivity. By nature, a woman is more prone to feel insulted and will even remember hurtful incidents of many years past. Surely, more than he will store her slurs in his memory. How many times does she tell us, you're this, you're that, titakoi, tisikoi? You want to sometimes remember. What do you mean? You know you called me. And you're like, I know she called me, but when? When am I going to give her this example? So you don't remember. Why? You don't care about this. Her, September 21st, you said like this. July 15th, when we were over here, it was raining and I had the blue umbrella on, you said this to me. And remember when we were in mother's house, you had this thing in your hand, you said to me like this, like that. You're like, how do they remember this kind of stuff? You understand? Why? Because that's their makeup. He says, years past more than, says, this is why he must be careful how he talks to her. Now, why do I have to walk on pins and needles? You don't, but you're going to get hit for it. It's going to be something that's going to be on your shoulders for the next decades. So why would you want to put yourself in that situation? When I didn't know, I'm being honest, I did that. I'm like, I didn't know. Now that I know, why would I want to get myself into a situation like that? So going forward, now that we have this in our belt, because yesterday everybody was saying, But why they don't teach us when we got married? Why there is no such a thing? Why the Khatan classes? Why didn't he tell me? Why? I said, listen, stop with the whys. Everybody's saying the same thing. There is no.
But when you do certain things, they think it's a red flag.
What?
When you do certain things, they think, why? Let's say if I leave, I'm like dancing for like 10 seconds. Like, why are you doing this? You're acting weird.
Because I love you. What do you mean acting weird?
I don't know, it's like a red flag for them.
What? No. Like, what do you mean? When you're too nice? When you're too nice, you're saying?
Yeah.
No. So.
What's going on?
Oh. So because you know why? Because for them this is something a chidush, a novelty. My husband never said to me these kind of things. Now all of a sudden he's saying this to me.
Maybe he wants something.
Oh, so has to be our new. This is the new Dr. Boris, the new Avraham, the new Akilov, the new Moshe, the new. This is me. I made a mistake, my love. But you know what? If you're gonna be like a chameleon, when you do this, you do that. No, that you're gonna put her in worse situation. You're gonna be in a worse situation than when you're always bad. Because now, when you want to improve, she's this guy aferist gamur, because he's just doing it on purpose. He says, beware that women are more prone to depression than men, for the reasons explained above, and due to the fact that the female brain produces much less serotonin to offset depression than males do. So therefore, he says, be careful. He says, therefore, claims Professor Mark, administrator, whatever. He says that what? He says in an interview to the October 2010 issue of the magazine, he says antidepressive medicines for women must be formulated on a different basis than those for men. Is that true, doctor?
Why Hashem made it less serotonin for the woman? She needs more.
Oh, and therefore what?
And Hashem made it less.
So we don't know why, because he wants her to be like this, and whatever it is, it is. At the end of the day, this is a fact, and therefore we cannot argue with the facts. He says, adult men prefer orders based on strength, politics, and competition. There's a problem with the neighbor, he will step in with the macho solution, while a woman will prefer to work it out verbally or seek a mutual, amiable solution. She will try to negotiate and compromise rather than use strength. If there is no recourse, but to use a frontal attack, she will do so verbally rather than with fist cuffs, right? Man, woman says more, let's talk it out, let's see, daughter, what's going on, yeah? He says, women use cooking to let off steam, while in the kitchen, a wife will conjure up the image of those who like her cooking, as opposed to chefs who revel in the mechanics of the cooking. Yeah? A chef, he's what? Technique, this, that, whatever. A woman, bottom line, you like it, yeah? You don't like it. Meaning she's going to say, how he's going to love it, yeah? And therefore when we come and say, well, it's good, but there's a little bit salty, a little bit no salt. To her.
What are they testing? Let's say box that she did and it's salty. She eats, but she's like, I think it's salty, but you know it's salty. But should not say anything or just go on.
If she says, "Is it salty or not?" You say, it's delicious. A little bit more salt than I would like, because she's asking. But if she's not asking, you don't say anything. If it's salty, you just drink a lot of water and whatever. Why? Because in her mind, she spent so many hours in there, and you know what? It's her fault. You know why? Because she doesn't taste it. My wife, I don't taste anything when I cook. So how are you gonna know what it tastes like? In the halakha it says the woman should taste. Why? It should be delicious on the Shabbat table. You hear?
He should taste.
Oh, but it's already too late. She did it already. What are you gonna do?
I always tell you, but it's do less salt always. Always add on.
But on box, how are you gonna add on? You know how? It tastes awful. You do it? Salt-based style, yeah.
No. Why the halacha says him to taste?
No, him to taste is just for in order to make the Shabbat, whatever.
If it's not salty,
What is he gonna do?
nothing. He will react properly, not to.
Later on, you mean?
Yeah.
Later on, okay, good idea. Yeah,
What's that?
you could. Yeah. So in our house, he goes, it's not salty. You want to put a little salt, but she's gonna get upset. So In our house, we do one of these. She's in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Pass the salt. Pass the
No,
salt.
but I got caught.
It's a little bit takoy.
I
Yeah.
have to do that.
Oh. Listen, at the end of the day, as long as you don't say it, you're good. You gotta, you put salt. Put salt. Yeah.
I say it's delicious. It's just, I like it.
A little bit more salty.
I like the salty taste, but it's great.
He says,
Hey, you gotta trial and error.
the world of advertising relies on great deal upon essential differences between men and women. Self as opposed to the other. While men focus more on their ego, women think more in terms of family and their close and those close to them. To get women to buy a certain product, an ad must be directed to the environment, while ads for men should appeal to them directly. Yeah? Men, huh?
Like a zooming car.
Exactly. Men, it's the ego. Woman, family, closeness, aroundness. Yeah? He says, in an interesting study that took place in the British Mind Lab by the team headed for neuropsychology, Dr. David Lewis, about sounds which disturb sleep, it was shown that there are significant differences between men and women. We just spoke about sleep, yeah? The Institute team created a sleep environment for each of their volunteers and played various types of sounds while they were asleep. The reactions were measured by an EEG, which examines the brain's electrical activity. A crying baby took first place of those sounds that cause women to wake up, while this did not even appear in the first 10 types of sounds that cause the men to wake up. Imagine, we don't even hear it. Woman, trats. He says, thus it is.
Is that true though? Like I don't know. Like for me, when my daughter cries,
You get up right away.
I get up first. I don't know why.
first same.
I get up
Yeah,
first.
so me too.
That's how-
Why?
That's
It's
something-
it's our personality.
Most of my friends
Yeah.
are also the same way. Most men. I don't know. Maybe things switch. Maybe I don't know when this book came.
So
out.
he
I was talking about maybe
this
20
this
years
is
ago.
this is a new book.
My father's the same way. My father,
Really?
he'll sleep through. But me, my brother-in-law,
So it in our generation,
yeah.
the men became a little bit more aware. Why? Because we have challenging challenging ladies. You understand? But he's talking about like natural state of a man. You understand? He says natural. He's not gonna. He says it wasn't even top 10. It wasn't the top 10. So man, that's crazy. I could understand it's the fifth, sixth, seventh noise. Yeah. Thus, it is likely.
Still the ten. Dog bark. What's the other 9?
Well, he doesn't mention it. Thus, it is likely for a woman to complain that she hardly slept at night because of the fretful baby, while the father will remark surprised, he cried at night. I didn't even hear. Yeah, he says, can't be. I didn't hear a thing. Men, it was found, were most frequently awakened by the sounding of a car alarm. Yeah, garbage truck maybe. Why?
Dog bark.
Yeah, dog bark maybe. Yeah, because security. Exactly. The conclusion was that women are most sensitive to potential dangers to their children, while men feel general sense of responsibility for the family and therefore, for the finances, for the security, and for the health. Therefore, we're more for the outside type of thing. Professor Cohen proves that generally men are systemizers who analyze successful schemes, while women are empathizers. That is, they deal with emotions and interpersonal communications. So far, all we've been learning or hearing about is that women are extremely emotional. Before you came in, we said that a lot of times women don't want to connect with their man, meaning at night. Why? They didn't get that emotional charge from the woman, from the husband. They need to hear a lot, especially on mikvah nights and days that you're supposed to be together. They want to emotionally connect with the man, because for them the emotional connection, they feel used and abused. And you know what? They don't want to be even with the man. And that's why a lot of men complain. My wife, I don't know, my wife is not interested in relations. You know why? Because there's no emotional connection. We said for a man, it's a physical thing. I just need, boom, that's it. That's it. I don't need more than 3 to 5 minutes. By them, it's a 3-day event.
Thinking.
Yeah, как дела, сладенькая моя, ты моя любовь, and you know what? They even tell you that in your face. Why don't you get me excited? It's not a physical excitement they're looking for. It's an emotional excitement they're looking for. You understand? Women I want you to light some candles, whatever. Yesterday, a guy said, but that's halachically not allowed. I said, listen, you're right, but for now we could put that aside. Why? It's kabbalistically not allowed, but it's allowed when there's other lights. You understand? So put a candle over here, put a little, light in the toilet, whatever, Why? Because that's what she wants. So therefore, you got to come ingenuity, yeah? Be a creative individual so that she sees something different. For her, this thing is so cold. There's people, they don't have relations for weeks. Why? She's not ready. It's crazy. I mean, if you think about it, it's crazy. She's not ready. She doesn't want to. She makes excuses. You understand? Why? She's not emotionally charged. Meaning she's ready, but she's not ready. Because for a man, yeah, that's it. He says over here, Professor Brian Cohen sums up the findings of many studies in his book as follows. For years, men thought that the male or female brain was the conglomerate of life experience, culture, and parental nurture. While environment is certainly important, still biology plays an important role, as Judaism has taught for thousands of years. Meaning, towards the end, they found out it's not the same. It's a completely different thing. A man brain and a woman brain, two different brains, two different feelings, two different ways of handling the information, two different ways of understanding what you're telling me. We can say something to them, and we're thinking it's a powerful thing. All of a sudden, they have a face, and like, sweetie, what happened? And she doesn't say anything. Why? She doesn't want to start another argument. And like, oh, okay, tell me what happened. Oh, you said this. Okay. Yeah, she understood it completely differently what you said. And to you, it's like, no, that's not what I meant. You understand? Okay, Be'ezrat Hashem, tomorrow we're going to, we're over 46 minutes. Tomorrow we're going to tackle, we started a little bit early today because the rabbis wasn't here. And we've finished praying early. So, Be'ezrat Hashem, tomorrow we're going to continue with a little bit more on the differences of men and women. And then he's going to get to criticism. Maybe tomorrow we're going to see. He's talking about criticism also. Okay, Be'ezrat Hashem.